This show is brought to you by Safety FM. Do you want me to play along with this part?
Towns, Hollywood road is far from over. Maybe it won't work out. State lines and cold shoulders. I'm sure we'll all find out.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. It is Freeform Friday, March the 17th of 2023, day 76 of the year. Yes, 76, and only 289 days left to go. Anyways, how are you? I hope everything is good and fantastic inside of your neck of the woods. I have to tell you, it's always a good time when we get to hang out and do all the fun stuff that we get to do. And it's amazing to me that we have now added something to the list in regards of things that people talk about the moment that they meet you. I'm a CrossFitter. I'm a vegetarian. I'm a podcaster. And now let's add to the list. I have a pilot's license. So I think that that's important stuff. We need to talk about it because it is Freeform Friday. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at because they're crazy like us. Radio. Oh, yes, Radio Big.FM, where we hang out over there on iHeartRadio and do all the fun stuff. And let me specify that because, I don't want the podcasters to get all confused. We stream 24/7 on iHeartRadio with RadioBig.fm. Yes, you can catch us as a podcast inside of their iHeartRadio app as well with some of the different segments that we do. But we stream 24/7 over there. So anyways, let's talk today because it is freeform. So what does that mean? We will do whatever, talk about whatever. You can call in by going to callinradio.com and doing the stuff that you want to talk about there. There is a video option. There is an audio option. There is even a text messaging option, preferred method by the J. Allen mode here. So that is the things that you can do if you want to do it that way. The other side of the equation, too, kind of equates to this, that you can actually go and watch us on video if you want to do that by going to Safety FM and clicking on Visual Radio, or going to RadioBig.fm and clicking on Visual Radio as well. And I also somehow have Safety.fm, thanks to Sheldon Primus. So those are some options there on looking at some different stuff. So as we do our thing today, of course, we're going to be talking about safety in the news and safety. We'll bring some professional broadcasters in, let them do what they do. So let's talk right away about what the hell was trending in the overnight.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so in taking a look around, let's talk a little bit about what's on tap. More bad news for Sam Bankman-Fried and a new theory about what happened to Nord Stream pipeline last year. We'll talk a little bit about that. New bank records show the direct line between shady companies and members of the Biden family. Now, questions remain about the president's son's brother's daughter-in-law did to earn the money and why so many efforts were taken to hide the source of the funds. We'll talk about that if we get swampy today. Also, Vanderpump Rules star Adriana Maddox has broken her silence on her boyfriend's affair with Ben Affleck. Oh, so no, with her boyfriend's affair, and Ben Affleck explained his grumpy expression at the Grammys. Boy, that sounded a little weird there for a moment. I was like, hold on. And Billie Eilish makes her acting debut, and Drew Barrymore will host the MTV Movie and TV Awards. I guess this is all important stuff to talk about. So if you're not familiar, as we bring in the pros from some of the main news lines for them to come in and talk. Because, hey, listen, you know that you don't want to get my garbage the whole time because that's just kind of the way that it goes. We'll talk a little bit, we'll do a little bit, and we'll do what needs to be done. So let's bring some fresh news sources in here to get you moving and grooving because, hey, let's do the news show. And, you know, as we do this, Freeform Radio, Freeform Friday. I mean, what else can you ask for? Freeform Friday. Who knows where the hell we're going to end up going today?
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. Turmoil in the banking industry is prompting concern about the odds of a recession. Goldman Sachs economists predict that there's a 35% chance the U.S. will experience a recession in the next 12 months. The prediction by Goldman increased by 10 percentage points following the fall of Silicon Valley Bank earlier this month. Recession fears have remained prevalent as the Federal Reserve continues to hike interest rates to tame inflation. The White House says Congress needs to act to strengthen banking regulations after the collapse of two banks.
The Obama administration put in place tough requirements to make sure that this sort of crisis would not happen again. But unfortunately, in the last administration in 2018, some of those rolled back. The bill would put banks with at least $50 billion in assets back under strict Federal Reserve oversight. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said tougher rules are necessary to prevent another failure. She added the administration is working to get a full accounting of what happened with Silicon Valley Bank to hold those responsible accountable. The Senate is advancing a bill to repeal the legal authorization used to invade Iraq. More from Brian Shook.
The bipartisan bill would repeal the authorization for the use of military force for the 2003 invasion, as well as the 1991 authorization for the first Gulf War. Since the authorizations are active, they can technically still be used. I'm Brian Shook.
Ford is recalling more than 1 million cars over brake hose issue. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says Ford Fusions and Lincoln MKZs sold between 2013 and 2018 are affected. It has to do with front brake hoses that may rupture and leak brake fluid. The agency says owners will be notified by letter and dealers will replace the front brake hoses for free. And there's been at least one confirmed tornado in North Texas as severe weather hits part of the state. It happened over Fort Worth on Thursday afternoon. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
Listen to our host
Of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
The Biden administration is threatening to ban TikTok unless the app's Chinese owners sell their stakes in the company. Lisa Taylor explains.
But TikTok CEO Xu Zichu tells the Wall Street Journal a sale won't resolve America's national security concerns over the popular video app. Xu says the demands for Chinese-owned ByteDance to sell its stake in TikTok won't offer any more protection than a plan the company proposed with U.S.-based company Oracle. There's concern the company could harvest and supply sensitive data on U.S. users to the Chinese government. Multiple state governments and Congress have banned the app from government devices. I'm Lisa Taylor.
The American military has released video that it says shows a Russian fighter jet harassing and colliding with a U.S. drone over the Black Sea. The video that the U.S. European Command released was recorded by the drone's onboard camera. NBC News reported on Wednesday that U.S. officials said Kremlin leadership had approved the aggressive actions. American commanders ordered the pilotless drone to be crashed into the sea after one of the jets clipped the drone's propeller. A popular attraction at Disneyland is set to reopen today. Trey Thomas fills us in.
guests will once again be able to venture through the Temple of the Forbidden Eye with the Indiana Jones Adventure attraction back in action. The ride has been closed for updates since the beginning of January. Fans are waiting to see if anything from the fifth Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, will be added to the ride. I'm Trey Thomas.
President Biden's pick to win the NCAA men's basketball tournament is out. Just hours after Biden revealed his men's and women's brackets on Thursday, Arizona was upset by 15th-seeded Princeton. On the women's side, the president picked Villanova to win the national title. And Taylor Swift surprising fans with new music ahead of her highly anticipated Eras tour. On Thursday, the singer announced that she was releasing 4 songs at midnight on Friday. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
What is dedication?
I am the father of a 9-year-old little girl and a 6-year-old little boy, and I find fatherhood both relentlessly challenging and relentlessly rewarding. My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much, from the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night, and every moment in between. It really is so special, and boy, is it exhausting. One thing that I fear about being a parent is the future for my children. I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings. But I'm also hopeful that the future holds a more inclusive and compassionate world for them.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
If you're worried your friend may be struggling, remember, you don't have to be there to be there.
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You can ask on your couch while you binge watch.
Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the JED Foundation.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home, and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HomeTitleLock.com. Radio. USA, Canada, UK.
Here is another bit for our competitors to copy. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 15 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Freeform Friday. Or is it a fantastic Friday? Or is it okay, you know what I was going to say there. So there you go. So let's get into it because that is what we do. We talk about the shit list. We go, we move, we groove, and everything in between. So a new filing for FTX reveals that Sam Bankman-Fried and 5 other executives received over $2 billion in compensation in the weeks before the company imploded under the weight of its own fraud. The money came in both in cash and loans, providing the most significant evidence yet that the customers' deposits were used illegally. And the worst part is that no one seems to know where the money went. Except for the millions of dollars that went to political causes and charitable giving that have been disclosed by law, plus other properties bought for executives and the company of which the detailed records are, according to Gizmodo. So there you go. You see, I mean, it gets weird. I mean, not that I'm saying you should take the money that you have and throw it inside of your mattress and hope your house doesn't catch on fire, because that's not the case of what I'm saying. But man, it makes it kind of weird when you say, okay, listen, I'm supposed to take my life's work, my life savings, and say, let's dump it in here, and you're going to protect it for me because you seem like some good people. It's kind of a weird time as we are talking about this. Anyways, while the space race heats up between billionaires Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, and NASA and China compete to achieve the milestone in space exploration, one company is pausing its effort. Virgin Orbit, Richard Branson Space Company. Employees found out on Wednesday that they're getting furloughed, and operations would be significantly scaled back for a week as it seeks more outside funding. Company leadership is expected to update sometime next week. While the other companies have focused on human space travel, Virgin Orbit is using systems that launches rockets from airplanes to get into orbit. Though the operation generates $1 million in revenue, the company has been operating in the red. I mean, yeah, that's kind of how it goes when you're going through a lot of these things that you're learning on how to do some of this shit. Yeah, you're going to operate in the red. And, not something that I always tell people that they should encourage themselves on going out there and doing, but also at the same time, too, you gotta think about it some on how that's going to work. Anyways, weeks after an independent journalist published a sensational story about the United States blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline last year, an alternative theory has begun to take shape. The Wall Street Journal suggests that a group of 6 people rented a yacht in Rostock, Germany last September, returned 2 weeks later, and totally disappeared days before the section of the pipeline exploded on September the 26th. Members of the group allegedly had a Ukrainian and forged Bulgarian passport. A German investigation shows the traces of the explosion of the rented yacht. GPS records show that the boat was sailing near the site of the explosion. Skeptics say that it would have taken a skilled military diver to not just reach the depths required for the plant explosion, but also have the knowledge to implement the the explosives themselves, which refutes the global intelligence community consensus of the explosion that was not a state-sponsored. The whole thing is getting interesting. So there you go. You can read that on Wall Street Journal if you want to find out more. I guess I should probably do that more frequently. Talk about where the hell I'm getting my source material, because that's sometimes I don't want, or let me rephrase that. I don't want people to have doubts on where this is coming from. So listen, I don't want to spew garbage here and then all of a sudden you go, well, that's not what happened. Well, I'm telling you where I'm getting the stuff from because I think it's important. I think it's important for us to share on where we're grabbing all this shit from and kind of moving forward because that's just the way that it goes. Anyways, after a winter full of heavy snow, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration National Weather Center says that the country is in for a flood-filled spring season when it all melts. The organization says that 44% of the nation's land area could see flooding, but not all. It's not all bad news. A season floods could benefit California, where droughts have tormented the farmers in recent years. What's that global warming thing that people talk about? I mean, isn't it bullshit?
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Anyways, good luck runs in one of Maryland's families where both fathers and his daughters took home the lottery winnings in the recent weeks. A woman said that they stopped at a convenience store for a snack when she remembered that her father had recently won a few bucks playing the lottery at the same shop. She brought a scratch-off ticket and ended up pocketing $50,000. She said that she's putting the windfall to pay down her student loans. Holy shit. I hope it's not more than $50,000 because that sounds like something. So there you go. If you're hanging out at home this weekend and not having a lot of plans and you need some video on demand stuff, I got some stuff on what's streaming this weekend for you. New to Amazon Prime is Boy in the World. New to Hulu is Boston Strangler. Rubicon and Summit Fever. New to Netflix will be In His Shadow, Noise, and The Magician Elephant. The Magician Elephant, I guess that's the thing. That's a thing. So there you go. Anyways, 21 minutes past the top of the hour. I think it is a good time to bring in John Smalls for him to tell us what the hell is going on inside of the market beat. Because why would you not want to know that?
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, March 17th, brought to you by GenesisGoldIRA.com. Equity markets rebounded Thursday as investors embraced the potential for a financial backstop in the banking sector and hope the FOMC eases back on the rhetoric. The S&P 500 gained nearly 2% at the session's high and may continue to rebound, provided good news continues. The risk is that woes in the banking sector will continue to spread and darken the outlook. Next week will be a pivotal week for the market. The FOMC is slated to announce the latest policy change Wednesday, which could spook the market again. Signs of cracking in the banking sector are not a reduction of inflation. That is what the FOMC needs to accomplish its goal. Given the strength in this week's CPI report, the FOMC may not ease up all that much. Investors should expect at least a 25 basis point hike, and the indication hikes would continue if the data is warranted. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at MarketBeatMinute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the information right there, letting us know what is going on. Here's what I was able to find on my end. The Dow added about 371 points to close at 32,246. The S&P added about 68 points to close at 3,960. And the NASDAQ added about 283 points. West Texas Intermediate closed at $68 a barrel, and Brent crude closed at $74 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas stayed at $3.46. Bitcoin was up on Thursday by 2.4%, trading just under $25,000. I got some good news. Well, now we're only in the 3,000 range. There was more than 3,110 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Thursday, and more than 280 cancellations. And what else? Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $254 million jackpot or $133.7 million cash payout. Saturday night's Powerball drawing will be for $78 million jackpot or $41.1 million cash payout. So there you go. If you want to play the game, you got the opportunity to do so. That is for sure. So what do we have going on? Let's take a look at some of the news stories on what is going on across this world. The Lapper District Library in Michigan is getting a public support for most who spoke at the board meeting last night at Lapper County. Prosecutor John Miller criticized the library having the book Gender Queer available to check out. Hundreds of people attended the meeting last night. We were talking a little bit about this yesterday about the book, so let's go into it.
Gender Queer is an autobiography written to help young adults trying to figure out how to identify and how to fit in.
What else? Miller repeated his concerns over the book, and he says that he encouraged children to engage in sexual... Hold on. Miller repeated his concerns over the book that he says encourages children to engage in sexual acts when they are not of legal age. Library director continues to stand by the book, which is kept to the adult section of the library, and other supporters are saying it is not salacious sex stories. Lapper County Prosecutor John Miller says that he is not against LGBTQ books, but has a problem with Gender Queer.
Books that encourage children to engage in sexual acts when they are not the legal age are not appropriate for a public library.
This young the young person supports the book. Take a listen.
Because of books like this, I was able to feel comfortable with myself and my identity.
And then this man supports the prosecutor.
If you will not get rid of these ungodly books and resign from your positions in the library as library director, then we, the people of this county, will make sure the library millage will never be renewed.
So there you go. Either do what we say or we threaten you. I mean, I don't know. Where do you stand with that? I've never read the book. I've only heard about it over the last couple of days. Let's just be realistic. So maybe we need some more context here before, determinations can be made. Take a listen to this. This is coming out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. An attack of a 5-year-old student on the Northview public school bus last week by 6th grade students is being investigated by the Kent County Sheriff's Office. German Burl says that his son came home from school with a bruise on his head and crying on March the 9th, and he was not allowed to see. He was not allowed to see the video taken by the other students until 6 days after the transportation director, citing the state law protect students.
The one guy basically tormented my son for about 15 to 20 minutes as the bus just rolled.
Burl says the bus driver should have had seen what was going on with his son being beaten by other students climbing over the seats to watch. The bus driver has been put on leave. Jerome Burl says that his 5-year-old son was attacked by a 6th grader on the school bus.
But I don't want to talk about a kid, bro, but that's some deranged stuff.
I mean, it's kind of a weird thing just in general of other kids beating up kids, but now we're talking about 6th graders beating up a 5-year-old. I mean, it kind of makes you start wondering about a lot of stuff as we are talking. Anyways, the U.S. has the lowest life expectancy of any G7 nation. Trey Thomas explains.
That's according to data from the University of Oxford and the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. The G7 is an informal grouping of the world's advanced economies, including Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, UK, and the U.S. The U.S. has also dropped out of the world's top 50 rankings with an average life expectancy of 77.41 years. For comparison, Japan and Australia both have average life expectancies over 84 years. I'm Lisa Taylor.
Well, sorry about that, Lisa. Did not mean to call you Trey there. That was definitely not my intent. That is not what I do. But I guess it already happened, so we're kind of a little bit late to that game. So let's see. 27 minutes past. I think we're going to do it. We're going to get a little swampy-umpy. Take a listen.
The White House says Congress needs to act to strengthen banking regulations after the collapse of 2 banks.
The Obama administration put in place tough requirements to make sure that this sort of crisis would not happen again. But unfortunately, in the last administration in 2018, some of those rolled back.
The bill would put banks with at least $50 billion in assets back under strict Federal Reserve oversight. Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said tougher rules are necessary to prevent another failure. The House Oversight Committee is questioning a large payment given to Hunter Biden and at least 2 of his relatives. On Thursday, the Republican chairman published a memo alleging the president's son received $1.3 million from a friend with ties to a Chinese energy company. Rob Walker was wired $3 million in 2017 from that energy company before he allegedly gave just over $1 million to Hunter Biden, as well as James and Hallie Biden. The chairman said it was unclear what services were provided to obtain the exorbitant amount of money. That's politics. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Okay, I guess politics is all about money today as we are talking about that. That's what it sounded like to me. What do you think? So there you go. What else do we have going on? Taking a look-ser around. Let's do this real quick. Let's talk about this. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is throwing shade at how the federal government responded to the COVID-19 pandemic. Brian Shook reports.
The Republican says the U.S. government was wrong about almost everything, including lockdowns. He went on to say that even 3 years later, Florida is still recovering from those actions. The U.S. is officially set to end its COVID protocols in early May. I'm Brian Shook.
I mean, let's talk about that comment right there. I mean, is it everywhere still kind of recovering about the, the pandemic? I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. I don't think there's anybody who's fully recovered yet. I don't know. You tell me. I could be absolutely wrong, but that's just a wild guess.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, here you go. At least 24 Mar-a-Lago staff members have been subpoenaed to testify in investigation of former President Trump's handling of classified documents. Mark Mayfield has more.
CNN reports they range from servers to members of Trump's inner circle at the Florida property. Special counsel Jack Smith is leading the probe into Trump over the FBI's discovery of the materials during a search of Mar-a-Lago last year. Trump's legal team has turned over more classified documents since then. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, thank you, Mark Mayfield, for that one. Let's talk about Florida abortion limits. Take a listen to this. A bill that furthers the limits when someone can have an abortion is being debated by Florida lawmakers. Bill sponsor Representative Jenna Pearson Malika says the measure is about protecting human life.
We know that by 6 weeks, a heartbeat is detectable. And what greater evidence of life is there than a heartbeat?
The Florida House Healthcare Regulations Subcommittee is voting in favor of the bill banning abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy. Last year, the state legislators passed a ban on abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Representative Kelly Skidmore opposes the bill and says that abortion is health care.
But it has been turned into something like a moral decision to be made instead of health care.
Bill sponsors Jenna Pearson Malika says that the bill is about protecting human lives.
Life begins at conception, and how strongly I feel about the value of life and a call to duty to protect our unborn babies.
Yep, it's the God of light inside. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on there. And that will always be one of those political splitters in regards of what people think. If you stand on one side of the aisle or the other, it's either this or you're that, and it's the other. I don't ever think that we're going to find a medium in regards of that. Just saying as we are talking. I mean, just think about it for a moment. Anyways, take a listen to this one. California Springs in action to spruce up things. Lucinda Kay has more info.
Volunteers and county leaders roll up their sleeves with Caltrans at the lead.
We're all Californians. We all love the state for our own reasons, and it really does take all of us to make a difference.
Caltrans launches Clean California Community Days for the next 10 days. Barbara Cosillo Moreno works with Caltrans District 11.
I think it really is, about just being part of the greater good.
This is all part of Governor Newsom's Clean California initiative, and Caltrans crews join kids at Southwest Middle School in San Diego. They're planting a community garden. Free dump days and coastal cleanups set for Saturday, plus a big highway event next week. For info, visit cleanca.com. I'm Lucinda Kay.
Okay, thank you, Lucinda Kay, for the information right there. Anyways, a Poway Unified School District is saying that dozens of schools will be unsafe. That's because they're dealing with several infrastructure problems.
By 2024, 2/3 of our schools will be in orange, sort of almost critical condition. And then by 2028, something like 90% of our schools, their major systems will be failing.
Poway High School is just one of the schools. It was built back in 1961, and the clay water pipes aren't just clogged. They busted beyond repair in the gymnasium, and there are holes in the roof that leak when it rains, and the gym doesn't have air conditioning. Other schools are facing problems and include Rancho Bernardo High and Bernardo Heights Middle School, which is also dealing with failing air conditioning systems. Poway Unified School District Superintendent Ron Little says that the district has only been able to take Band-Aid approach to fix issues. The district has been trying to pass a bond to get money for improvements, but voters haven't approved the measure. In 2020, only 53% of voters said yes, while 55% is what's needed. School district officials say that they believe that most parents don't know how bad the district buildings are and had to convince them to vote yes on the future measure in 2024. Poway Principal Richard Nash says that he is an accepting of the problems.
Every student in our school will come through this space with the expectation to learn, and it's substandard. It needs to be improved.
Yep, nobody wants some substandard learning, that is for sure, as we are talking about it. Anyways, we're 34 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's go ahead and do it. It is Freeform Friday, so keep that in mind as we are talking, and let's do some more of this where I can give you a little bit more of that.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Nina Maria-Potts for the latest world news. China is dismissing international security concerns over the use of the popular TikTok app. It comes as New Zealand, the UK and the US have all banned the use of the app on government phones. Richard Kimber reports from Hong Kong.
China says the US has yet to provide concrete evidence that the popular video-sharing TikTok app threatens its national security. It's accusing the US of spreading disinformation and unfairly discriminating against Chinese companies that are trying to operate there. TikTok, which is owned by Chinese tech giant ByteDance, has more than 100 million US users. In recent months, it's come under international scrutiny due to fears its user data could be accessed by the Chinese government. The UK banned the app on government phones with immediate effect on Thursday. The US and New Zealand have set a deadline for the end of March for the app to be deleted from official devices. TikTok rejects allegations it's being used by the Chinese government and says it spent more than $1.5 billion on data security efforts to reassure regulators and users. Richard Kimber in Hong Kong.
Japan and South Korea are vowing to resume diplomatic visits amidst warming ties between the two countries. It follows the first in-person summit between their leaders in more than a decade. Chris Gilbert reports.
Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida hosted South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol at his official residence for the summit and press conference. Japan's agreeing to end export restrictions to South Korea on industrial products needed to make microchips, and Seoul is dropping its complaint to the World Trade Organization over the matter. They've also vowed to resume shuttle diplomacy, which would see fast-tracked travel for high-level officials between the two countries aimed at increasing in-person security talks. Prime Minister Kishida says the pair will now maintain close communication and boost political, economic and cultural exchanges. The warming relations have been encouraged by the United States, which is looking to expand its network of allies in the region to counter the growing military and economic influence of China. Chris Gilbert in Tokyo.
Global markets have been reacting to a major US bank injection of $30 billion to rescue troubled lender First Republic Bank. The unusual move marks an attempt to restore calm and stabilize the markets following a volatile week, as Sally Patterson reports.
Some of the US's biggest banks, including JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup and Bank of America, were involved in the rescue. The lenders will deposit billions of dollars each, saying in a joint statement that it reflects their confidence in First Republic and in banks of all sizes. US regulators called the move most welcome and said it demonstrates the resilience of the banking system. News also emerged on Thursday that Credit Suisse will borrow as much as 50 billion francs, around $54 billion, from the Swiss National Bank liquidity facility.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking in more detail today at TikTok after the UK became the latest country to ban the app from government-issued cell phones. In the United States, President Biden, like Donald Trump before him, is reportedly mulling the possibility of completely banning the Chinese-made app amid fears that it can be used as a tool of surveillance. But why should phone owners be more concerned about TikTok than other major social media platforms? Security analyst Ed Lucas, formerly a senior editor at The Economist.
I think there's a difference between Twitter or Facebook or any other app that you may have from a Western company and the Chinese one, that if the NSA or GCHQ thinks that you are a terrorist, they can go to enormous lengths to try and get onto our phones and find out what we're doing. They have to go to someone like a judge and say, this is really important, this is why we're doing it, and the judge can either say yes or no, or can ask some questions. And it goes up through a sort of very structured process also on the political side, ending up probably with someone like you or me, it'd be a minister having to sign off, is this really important? So there are safeguards, and with the Chinese Communist Party, you don't have that. It's just, are we interested? Are we going to do it? Yes, we are. And nobody in our system has any say at all about what's happening.
New Zealand has also banned TikTok from government-issued phones, and India has banned the app completely. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
And a reminder now of the hour's top stories. Japan and South Korea are vowing to resume diplomatic visits amidst warming ties between the two countries. And major US banks have injected $30 billion to rescue troubled lender First Republic Bank. The move is an attempt to restore calm and stabilize the market following a volatile week.
And that's the latest world news from Feature Story News. I'm Nina Maria Potts in London.
Rated R Safety Show. Sarcastic? Never.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp-speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobile.io. That's mobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. She wasn't even really sure where she was at.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it. I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, we'll figure it out."
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
So do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
As your safety training old, stale, and hackney, safety trainers still preaching a warped version. How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywords.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
What do guys like besides pizza and morning sex?
Jay Allen in the morning.
It's so bizarre and unnatural.
It's all good.
On radio.
Was inside I've ever had. Sometimes these things don't make sense.
Here we are, Rated R Safety Show, hour number 1 of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show on this Freeform Friday. So let's do this. Let's talk about this. This is Hollywood Rodeo by Gabrielle Grace. Gabrielle Grace. Gabriella Grace. You just got it. There's some grace there. Songs readily available on Spotify and iTunes. students, and of course some YouTube music. You can get a little streamer-emer. So thank you to Gabrielle Grace for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. So let's get moving and grooving. Got little time to go, a lot of things to cover, so let's do this right now, because that is what is going on. Let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can help you prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you and your loved ones, and best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org. You can text the word TALK to 988 or call 988, and that will get everything moving and grooving for you. That's kind of the easiest ways to do some of those things. So get that all set up for you. In regards, if you are struggling, listen, there are people to turn to. If you don't feel comfortable talking to someone you know, this is the Lifeline. This is the Lifeline, 988lifeline.org. So a lot of stuff to talk about still in regards of what is going on. So my ears hurts. Yes, my ear hurts. Take a listen. Got plans to go to live music at all this weekend? Well, if you're planning to bring earplugs, you be in the minority. New research says that half of all concert and club goers experience ringing in their ears, but only 1 in 10 regular wear earplugs at gigs, festivals, and nightclubs, according to the World Health Organization. That means that 1 in 2 young people are at risk of noise-induced hearing loss, including deafness. The research also found that fewer than 50% of music fans even know about, potential deafness, and it is an irreversible condition in which a person hears noises such as ringing, clicking, or buzzing in their ear, and it is often caused by overexposure to loud noises. Of course, today's music, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference anyways. Okay, I'm just joking as I say that, but maybe their ears are just ringing because someone's talking about them. Maybe that's the way that some people are looking at it. I never know. So there you go. Anyways, take a listen to this. This is coming out of Washington. Seattle police are investigating a kidnapping of a 63-year-old man who was in a trunk of his car when it crashed into a house. Yeah, Brad Ford has more.
Police responded to a vehicle crash into a house that caught fire on 27th Avenue Northeast Thursday morning. Witnesses saw a man climb out of the car's trunk. He told police he'd been kidnapped by several people, bound and forced into the trunk. The man was hospitalized with non-life-threatening injuries. Police questioned and released one person. They're trying to identify the suspects. Brad Ford, NBC News Radio.
That sounds almost very movie-like in regards of having that done. Anyways, the city of San Diego could be moving towards a ban of homeless camps on public property. San Diego City Council member Stephen Whitburn, who represents downtown, says the ban is a matter of public health and safety, citing crime, fire, and outbreaks like hepatitis.
In compliance with court rulings, the prohibition will apply only when there is available shelter. And regardless of shelter availability, the prohibition on encampments will always apply where the risk to health and safety is highest.
The plan is endorsed by San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria. Todd Gloria will be up to vote in front of the full city council next month. San Diego City Councilman Stephen Whitburn says if passed, the ban would be in effect citywide when shelter space is available and permanently in certain areas, including parks, beaches, schools, and public transportation.
These encampments pose hazards to those living in them and to our neighborhoods. And the number one responsibility of our city government is to protect public health and safety. We cannot allow unhealthy and unsafe encampments on city property.
So there you go. Some weird stuff going on right there as we are talking about some of these things. Anyways, Colorado Springs and El Paso County are addressing intersection known as flash flooding and rescues with an agreement. The intersection at Sitfield Boulevard and Date Street, just north of the Academy Boulevard in Austin Buffs. Take a listen.
Even though it has city development all around it, it was built to county rural specifications decades ago.
The agreement says that the county will allow the city annex to enclave, making it the city's responsibility to maintain for both parties to split even $11 million for the cost of the drainage fix issue. So there you go. Hopefully they can get that resolved relatively quick. As some more storms hit California, officials in Orange County are declaring a local state of emergency after a hillside gave way, leaving 4 apartment buildings teetering on the side of the cliff. Congressman Mike Levin says that he reached out to the White House and FEMA for help.
And I'm proud to report the White House approved our request, and Orange County is now included in the federal emergency declaration.
He says that it will allow the federal government to provide emergency resources, which will come directly to the community. The landslide happened Thursday morning. Geology experts worry that this won't be the last slide of its kind, as more wetlands or more wet weather is on its way. Levin says the emergency declaration means that the feds can now streamline resources to the area.
Impacted communities will be eligible to receive reimbursements from FEMA for things like debris removal. It's pretty important if you look down the hill. Emergency protective measures and other resources that our first responders have already spent and are continuing to spend.
So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. Anyways, the Colorado Department of Human Services is offering $14,000 bonus and other benefits for nurses to work at the 2 state-run psychiatric hospitals. Lyra Joseph, the director of CDHC, has more.
Working for the state has its own benefits as well. And so this $14,000 is that extra incentive to come on board and see how we can help people who are very sick.
Okay, so there you go. New nurses will get $14,000 bonus if they are hired to work at the facilities in Denver and Pueblo. CDHS says the bonuses are being offered in response to the nursing shortages and impacting hospitals across the nation, along with expected increase in demand of mental health issues. CDH Director Lyra Joseph says that the multiple reasons that the county is experiencing shortages.
So nationwide, the last statistics I reviewed were about 100,000 nurses short around the country. And I think we have to first start by pointing at the pandemic and how hard that was for our medical staff workers around the country. Think about what they went through.
Yeah, they went through a lot. I get it. Anyways, listen to this. A medication being used to fight COVID should be fully approved. Brian Shook has more.
That's what an FDA panel said when it comes to Paxlovid. However, the near unanimous vote did come with a warning about Paxlovid and what's known as drug-to-drug interactions. The antiviral pill is recommended for those over 50 who battle other issues that put them at higher risk of severe complications from COVID. I'm Brian Shook.
Okay, thank you, Brian Shook, for that one right there. Anyways, with that being said, I think it's time to get you motivated. So let's go ahead and do the Motivation Minute. Here's some John Smalls.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Rochelle. Chishala Luoma said, "I no longer look for the good in people. I search for the real. Because while good is often dressed in fake clothing, real is naked and proud no matter the scars." I absolutely love this. Now, I have spent far more than half of my life working in the media and marketing world. I've been repulsed by some of the things that have happened in our industries. Sometimes it seems like the perspective of a story can be twisted to fit the narrative that they want. And in marketing, often there are advertisements with a disclaimer that's longer than anything meaningful that happened to be said in the ad. So if you're the one who's trying to get people to notice your business, just be real. Real is good. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by alessamorgan.com. When it comes to weight loss and the mechanism for the body to burn fat, there is one interesting aspect that is helpful in understanding this process. Fat leaves the cell mainly due to the activity of the enzyme called hormone-sensitive lipase, or HSL, which acts to release it. Notice the name of this enzyme. It's called hormone-sensitive lipase, not calorie-sensitive lipase. In other words, hormones, not a reduction in calories, stimulate the release of fat. This is one of the reasons why stress management is the highest priority, and wellness and weight optimization, keeping cortisol in check, makes a tremendous impact on what our body ends up doing with food we consume. For more tips and information on wellness, check out alessamorgan.com.
Hello, I'm Richard Exley with your 1-minute devotion. My friend John is a retired missionary who every day tells the Lord he is available. The assignments the Lord sends his way are amazing. He's taken Bibles and other supplies to missionaries working on our southern border. He's worked with Afghan refugees, helping them find housing and job, language classes, and places to live. He serves on his church's missions committee and has led teams on short-term missionary trips. Did I mention he leads a prayer ministry and is a small group leader? If you tell God you're available, there's no telling what he may ask you to do. Lord, we're available. Send us. Amen. If these devotions are a blessing and an encouragement to you, you can subscribe at oneminutedevotion.com.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 55 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Friday. Anyways, let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. Back in 2020, in response to COVID-19 pandemic, on this day, the European Union announces a 30-day ban onto entering 26 countries. The UEFA postpones its flagship national team football competition, and the French Open is the first Grand Slam tennis tournament to be postponed. That happened all back in 2020. If you're looking at some birthdays for today, I have some of those for you. John Boyega turns 31. Hosier turns 33. Rob Kardashian, 36. Eden Desco, 37. Miles Kane, 37. Kyle Cover turns 42. Nikki Jam, 42. Samoa Joe, 44. Coco Austin, 44. Stormy Daniels, yes, that's Stormy Daniels, turns 44 today. Mia Hamm, 51. Billy Corgan, 56. Rob Lowe, 59. Gary Sinise turned 68. Kirsch Russell, 72. And Patty Boyd turned 79 today. If you're looking at some reasons to celebrate for today, I got some of those for you. It's St. Patrick's Day, Red Nose Day, National Corned Beef and Cabbage Day, and World Sleep Day. Does that mean I should sleep longer? I mean, I'm kind of confused on that one, but that's what's going on over there. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I'll be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to come hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. We'll talk about all the things that are going on inside of the world of music and entertainment, because that's what we do over there. And we'll definitely play some good music, my thought of good music, of course, and then we'll go from there. Anyways, if you need a random joke for today, here's one. I'm sure St. Patrick's Day was the occasion when someone first said, take a picture, it'll last longer. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. On what occasion did you experience the luck of the Irish? And then question for the water cooler today. Among those celebrating today, 83% will have this in common. What is it? They'll be wearing something green. That's what it is. If you want to try a different question not related to that, you can do this. 66% of us fall asleep with one of these in our bed. What is it? A TV remote control. I fall asleep with normally 2 of them with me. I don't know why, just kind of the way that it goes. So that's what's going on right there. Anyways, don't forget about our upcoming event in Phoenix, Arizona, May the 9th and the 10th. Safety Worlds Collide. Brent Sutton, Sam Goodman, and yours truly hanging out, doing some things inside of the world of safety, talking about how these things all gel together. Would love to see you there. For more information, go to safetyfm.io. That is safetyfm.io to find out some more information. That is for sure. Anyways, thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do what the hell we do around here. That is for sure. If I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. For each petal of the shamrock, this brings a wish your way. Good health, good luck, and happiness for today and every day. Think about that. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. If I don't see you at the top of the hour, we'll speak on Monday, God willing, of course, that is. I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Left field of big small towns, Hollywood road is far from old.